There are various grips for the different balls that I bowl. We will start with the standard grip. The first two fingers are placed along the seam, with the seam running equally between both fingers. The thumb underneath runs straight along the seam underneath. Two fingers on top, seam equally between the thumb along the seam, straight down the line. For the outswinger with the new ball, the first two fingers are again placed alongside the seam, but this time the seam is slightly slanted in the direction in which the ball is heading. The thumb underneath goes off at a slight tangent to the seam because of the slant of the seam. That's the first two fingers on top, the seam slightly slanted towards the slip in the direction it goes. The thumb to a slight tangent off the seam, not straight along the seam. For the outswinger with the old ball, with half the ball on shine and half of it dull. The first two fingers are placed alongside the seam, with the seam running equally between both fingers on top. The thumb underneath runs straight along the seam. That's the first two fingers on top, equally on either side of the seam, and the thumb straight along the seam. The shine side is opposite to the direction in which you want the ball to go. For the in-swinger with the new ball, the second finger is this time placed a little bit closer to the seam, almost on top of the seam, with the seam slanted in the direction in which the ball is intended to go. The first finger is more on the side of the seam, on the side of the ball. The thumb underneath, because of the slanting of the seam, runs off almost diagonally to the seam. So that's the first two fingers, the first finger a little bit off the seam, the second finger on the seam, the thumb diagonally to the seam. For the in-swinger with the old ball, the shine side is now held on the inside, opposite to the direction in which the ball is intended to go, and the dull side on the outside. The first two fingers are again placed similarly in the way of the new ball. The second finger along the seam, the first finger beside the seam on the shine side. The thumb again underneath goes off diagonally away from the seam because of the tilting of the seam. The shine side on the inside, the dull side on the outside in the direction in which the ball goes. That's the fingers on top, similarly to the new ball, the thumb underneath diagonally away from the seam.
The run-up is important to all bowlers, but more especially fast bowlers. Having marked out his run, Michael Holding begins his approach, gets the appropriate grip on the ball, gradually gathers momentum, maintaining rhythm and balance, eyes always on the target, reaches maximum speed into delivery stride, carrying his left arm across his body, looking over his leading shoulder to ensure a side-on action, and finally releases another potential wicket. Another vital aspect of bowling is the placement of the front foot in the delivery stride, as this determines body action. For the outswinger, the toe points towards leg slip, acting as a brace for the bowling arm to whip across the body in delivery. For the in-swinger, the toe points straight down the pitch so that the bowling arm finishes on the inside of the body on delivery. Now Michael Holding demonstrates the in-swinger, toe pointing straight down the pitch on delivery, the ball swinging in from off to leg. Now the outswinger, toe pointing to leg slip on delivery, the ball swinging from leg to off.